Hi, guys, and thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Project Appleseed's monthly giveaway. I'm your host, Jim Delahanty, also known as Ghost Ring on the Project Appleseed Forum. I'm a master instructor with Project Appleseed, and joining me today is Jeff Yeager. He's known as Cleveland on the Appleseed Forum. Now, Cleveland is a master instructor too, and Jeff is also the sitting national coordinator for the program. Welcome, Jeff. It's great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Jim. Man, it's great to be back again this month. Good to see you again.
Man, it just seems like too long since we see each other. Tech support tonight is being handled by Ross Crutchfield. He's one of our senior instructors, and he goes by the name Roswell on the forum. Hey, Roz, how's it going, brother?
Hey man, happy to be here. Always happy to be of service.
Very cool, dude. He's our
Thanks,
man
Ross.
in the booth, man in the booth. And thank you for the support. Also, our deputy national coordinator, Mrs. Smith, is sitting in the comments section right now, fielding questions. Thank you, Tracy. And thanks to all of you viewers, really, for taking time out of your busy lives to join us today. We really do appreciate it. And now, before we get started, Jeff, do you have any news or stuff to share about Project Appleseed?
Yeah, Jim, I've got three items I'd like to share this evening. First, we have one more Rifleman Boot Camp coming up this year, October 19th to 24th in Ramseur, North Carolina. This is the last Rifleman Boot Camp this year, so if you want to get on one of those, there's still a few slots left last time I checked. Also, we have the Muster at the Range in Ramseur, North Carolina, September 12 to 14. This is when we'll do some work projects around the range. Be a great time to spend some quality time with Appleseeders and getting the range in tip-top shape. And lastly, I'd like to mention that at our Appleseed store, we sell some Vortex scope packages. We have just what you need, whether you're looking for something for your 22 for a rimfire KD or a 25 meter event, or maybe for your AR for that next KD. Check out our selection. We've got some great deals over there.
Well, Vortex scopes are great. I mean, their warranty is unmatched, I think, in the industry. I mean, seriously good quality. So yeah, definitely a recommendation there.
Yeah, I'm running a Vortex on my KD rifle. I love it.
Oh, dude, they're super scopes, very, very good for the money. Hey, and while everybody's here, I got to bring up that Project Appleseed, not just about shooting. We also like to talk about history. And today we're going to talk about a guy named Isaac Davis, Captain Isaac Davis. He was a leader of the Acton Minutemen. Now, his fame isn't just so much that he's a great guy, and he was, or a fantastic officer, but he was the first colonial officer killed in the Revolutionary War. Not just, that's kind of what he's sort of most famous for, but the reality is he was a remarkable guy. And his death that day spurred the winning of the Battle of the North Bridge at Concord. Now, the Acton Minutemen, you need to know, they were formed by request of the Massachusetts Provincial Congress in November of 1774, just 6 months before those first shots were fired at Lexington and Concord. By their recommendation, all communities were urged to gather companies of militia, and Acton's company of 40 Minutemen joined to protect their families and their communities. Now, Isaac was their leader. He was elected into that position. He didn't buy his way in. He didn't bribe anybody. He wasn't put there because he looked the best, although he was a good-looking guy. He was not just a farmer. He was also the local gunsmith. And he was determined that all of his men in his company would be as well equipped as the regulars. Even though his men were handling different muskets, some British, some French, even a couple Germans probably, he took it upon himself to hand fit bayonets to each one of those muskets. And bayonets were really the weapon of war at the time. He also made and issued cartridge boxes for his men so that they didn't have to have a powder horn to reload their muskets. They could drop cartridges in with ball already ready to go, just like the regulars. His men were evenly equipped as the king's men. Isaac men's, they weren't just well kitted. They were also well trained. Isaac created an improvised shooting range behind his house, and his men were so dedicated they met there for training twice a week. As a matter of fact, few would argue that they were among the best trained and best equipped Minutemen in Massachusetts. So on that faithful morning of February 19th, once the alarm got to him, he had his men muster at his house about 7 o'clock in the morning. And he was heard to say, Because remember, the roads were all shut down. He was heard to say, I have a right to go to Concord on the King's Highway, and I will go to Concord. Whilst waiting for everybody to gather, his men made use of their time, making more paper cartridges with powder and ball, and some even powdered their hair with flour so that they would look more like gentlemen when they went to face off against the king's men. Davis formed his men up and ordered them to march, but just before he left the house, he called a halt and he walked back to the door, and there, standing there at the doorstep, was his wife, Hannah. And he turned to Hannah and he said, take good care of the children. And then he left, and Hannah knew, she knew at that time that she would never again see him on this mortal plane. And she was right. Upon reaching Concord, he joined with other militia companies on the hill they'd met on just a few weeks earlier at the March 13th Regimental Muster. Now, minute companies were on the right side, militia companies were on the left, and that was the side that the bridge was on. And he joined with Major Barrett and the other company leaders to decide what they were supposed to do about the regulars in Concord and also on the bridge. Now, unbeknownst to anybody on the hill that time, the troops had set a fire. The regulars had set a fire to burn some gun carriages, some other stuff that they'd found, and it had gotten out of control. And they started to put it out. They were actually, helping the colonial folks put out this fire, and vast amounts of steam and smoke coming up. And it looked, from where they were standing, it looked like the whole town was on fire. And one of the guys said, are we to stand here? Are we to stand here and wait while they burn down our town? Well, that just wouldn't do. Right? So Major Barrett asked Captain Davis if he was afraid to lead the Acton Minute Company and the Colonial Column into the middle of town for its defense, or to die in the attempt. And Isaac Davis said famously, I am not a man who is afraid to go. And he raised his sword. He raised his sword and he took his men. He went to the front of that column and he led that column. He marched them straight down to the bridge, bayonets high. And the regulars on the bridge, they didn't know what was going on. They could not believe that the militia was so well regulated, so well trained, that they would be marching in time and they'd have bayonets and cartridge boxes. Oh my gosh, who are these guys? So about 75 yards away, as the company was about 75 yards away, they let loose a couple of warning shots and then a ragged volley of fire. And Captain Davis was killed instantly with a musket ball through the heart. Upon seeing this, Major Buttrick, standing behind him, yelled, fire, fellow soldiers, fire, for God's sakes, fire as fast as you can. And they did. The provincials did fire upon the British on the bridge, and they caused the British column just to break ranks completely. And they fled. They sped away towards Concord. And for a moment, beginning of the Revolutionary War, these first shots of the Revolutionary War, right? The farmers and shopkeepers and just regular guys and the colonists had bested the British Army, the greatest in the world. But today you can see a monument to Isaac Davis at the North Bridge, standing right there. And it's actually the gravesite of Isaac, and also a guy named Abner Hosmer, who is also an acting guy who died of the day. And this famous statue of Isaac is depicted with a musket, and he stands by his plow. And it is so iconic. You should see it. It's not only the logo of the National Guard, but we feature it prominently on all of our Appleseed gear. Isaac Davis, a dangerous man. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Jim. Well, that story gets me every time. He had a house full of sick children, and he could have stayed home that day and called in sick, and I don't think anybody would have blamed him. But he left knowing that he probably wouldn't return. Gets me every time.
It's something. So today we've also got a last month's winner, I think. Roz, do we have last month's winner on the line? Clark C.
Hold on just a minute.
Hey, Clark, how's it going, brother? I think you might be muted, dude.
How's that?
That sounds great, dude. That
Hey,
sounds
Clark.
great.
Hey, there we go. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I sure appreciate it.
Man, thank you for coming on, Clark. It's so
Yeah,
nice
no
to see you,
problem.
man. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
So first off, where are you from?
I live in Duluth, Minnesota.
Duluth, Minnesota. That's a very cool place. And I mean, literally, it's a very cool place.
It is, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The lake keeps
But
us nice and cool, and I like it that way.
that is very nice. That is very nice. Have you been to many Appleseeds before this one?
I had never been to one before. No.
So this is your initial Appleseed. That's very, very cool.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
so let me ask you this question. Did you make rifleman?
I did. I did.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
huzzah. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Okay. All right. Well, man, so a rifleman at your first event, very, very neat. Name drawn for $1,000 gift card at PSA. Also very cool. Hey, have you been to one of our pistol events by any chance?
I have not. They had one a couple weeks after this event, and there were people talking about it, but my schedule was kind of full. So they sounded really interesting. I certainly want to go to another rifle event, whether it's the same one or a known distance. In a pistol event, I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it to all my friends, and I've only been trying to go to one for like 6 years now. So it's regrettable, but that's the reality.
Well, you knocked it out of the park, dude. I mean, rifleman at your first event, that is a major milestone. And we would love to see you on the line. So yeah, definitely come out. Try a pistol event. They're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
You can earn your pistolier patch, and then you could have 2 patches, and then your known distance patch, and pretty soon you'll be all patched up.
Well, yeah.
We'll
You
get
just
you
need
out
to
of
take
here.
a hat.
That's a
Right.
please do.
I had a feeling that was coming.
Oh yeah, you sound like exactly the kind of guy we'd like to have instructing our folks. So that's good. Okay, last question, and this is one everybody wants to know. What are you going to spend the money on, dude?
Yeah, well, before I forget, let me just say thanks to Project Appleseed. I had a great time. And thanks to Palmetto State Armory. I mean, I absolutely did not expect to be drawn for this at all. In fact, I sort of skimmed over that section about the draw, and I'm like, whatever, that doesn't apply to me. So I really didn't believe the email when I got it.
Oh no.
But what am I going to spend it on? Well, I really want a CZ 75, but the one I want is not in stock. So I am impatiently waiting.
Very
Yeah,
understandable. Very
yeah.
understandable. All right. Well, man, thank you, Clark, for being here today, and thank you for being here. And you're going to get to watch the next drawing if you don't mind staying on.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're going to do that right now, and I've got to do some camera magic. So Cleveland, I'm going to give it over to you for a second.
Yeah, so we get to see who gets to win this month's drawing for $1,000 gift card to Palmetto State Armory, and hopefully they have in stock what you're looking for. So let's see who this month's winner is.
Okay, so just
Where'd
one
Mr.
more
Finley
moment,
go?
and we can start the Finley cam. Here we are. There we are. Can you everybody
There's
see
Finley.
Finley? He likes to help us with these drawings. All right, round and round and round we go. And where we stop, only Finley knows. Here we are. I need 3 hands for this, guys. Can somebody loan me a hand? Finley, you're not helping out, dude. All right, and we have got a winner. Give me a second to kill the Finley cam. That is super cool. And do that and do this.
Who's it going to be?
I don't know. Let me do the silly background stuff. Here we are. Okay. And so now we have a number. We had a whole bunch of folks, 267 entries this month, and our winning ticket number is 53. 53. Who is 53, Cleveland?
Let me look. Marshall B. from the Kingsport, Tennessee event. You're the winner of a $1,000 Palmetto State Armory gift card.
Marshall, fantastic, brother. Where's he from?
Kingsport, Tennessee event, 25-meter event.
Kingsport, Tennessee. Excellent place. Great events. I mean, we got a great crew there. And congratulations, Marshall. That is super, super cool. Super, super cool. Well, I want to take this opportunity to thank you again, Clark, for helping us out. You know,
Thank you.
Jeff and Ross and Tracy and everybody on the crew, thank you for helping make this thing a reality. But most importantly, thank all you guys for watching. And man, I really invite you to an Appleseed event. You're gonna have a great time. And remember, you know, keep dry firing, and we'll see you on the line.
See you
Thank
on the
you.
line.
All
Good
right.
night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.